going to call me, you know. So,
Oh, too funny. Where are you located in
uh,
US or US,
yep,
right?
yep. I'm in the U.S. So I live in Texas.
Oh, cool. Very
Yep, yep.
cool.
I'm originally from Chicago, but about 4.5 years ago, I moved to Texas. So,
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I've
yeah,
been to Chicago. I've never been to Texas. Always wanted to go to Texas.
Chicago's a good time. I love Chicago. So,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I often said that I wasn't ever going to go back to Chicago, but now it's kind of like I still got family there, and last like
yeah,
6 months, it's kind of been like maybe I should consider going back, but
yeah, yeah, for sure.
we'll see. Awesome. So we're recording. I'll do the intro and we'll jump into it.
Great. Sounds good.
Cool. Here we go. Welcome back to another live and Amplified Livecast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and we are back at it again with another amazing podcast. We are coming from a very cold Central Texas. We were so nice yesterday. I was so excited. And now here we are, back freezing. But you know who's not freezing? Our special guest coming all the way from Melbourne, Australia. We got Cassidy Paris. We got Tom. How's it going today, guys?
Hey,
Hey, how are you?
Good, good, good. It's Friday. Well, I guess technically for y'all it's Saturday, but it's the weekend, so I'm happy. So,
Exactly. That's the spirit. Thanks for having
yep.
us on. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, y'all are based out of Melbourne. Are you born and raised in Melbourne or?
I'm born and raised in Melbourne. He does
yeah,
not so much have an Australian accent.
you'll
No.
notice, yeah, I'm from the UK, so North Wales. I've moved here sort of about 6 weeks ago.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
quite different weather here than it is at home. I think it's about -6 at home at the moment.
Fair. Yeah, it's
But I'm here.
nice. So let's start there. What prompted you to move to Australia?
Well, yeah, we sort of met, I'd say, a couple of years ago, and then just sort of Cassidy was doing a tour in the UK, and I was playing in another band, Mad Haven. We ended up playing a couple of shows together, and we all kind of clicked.
Nice.
So then we were planning to come out to Australia because we've got family here. So
Mhm.
then we said, we'll get the visas and stuff so we can stay sort of a long time.
Nice.
And then we joined the band and just done the UK tour together and stuff. So it's great.
Yeah, I think
Nice.
it was something that kind of just, worked, and we were kind of at the end of like the cycle as well. We had just finished writing the album, like the debut album that we put out.
Hmm.
So like the boys and stuff are going to be heavily involved on the second. Whatever we do, I don't know if it's going to be an album, EP, single, but yeah, they're going to be very heavily involved in it from this point on. So it's great.
Nice. So everything just kind of timed out really well, where it was
Yeah,
like you're finishing
Sure.
up one project and one tour, getting ready to jump right into the next. So that's
exactly
cool.
right. Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Hey, nice, nice. So I this will be a little bit of a different interview for us because usually when we interview bands, they've been together for a very long time and they've had
Yeah.
that rapport. So I'm going to try and keep this as focused as possible. So
Of course.
so for Cassidy Paris is your stage name, and then that's also the name of the band, or
Yeah,
which?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, I mean, I go by Cassidy Paris because it's actually my birth name. So Cassidy
Mm,
Paris Janevsky.
yeah.
A lot of people get confused because my dad's also in the band and he goes by Steve Janevsky, and I don't
Mm,
really go by Cassidy Janevsky.
yeah.
It was just like a stage choice, I guess. But it is actually my name. I didn't just pull it out of thin air.
Fair.
And then yeah, and it's the band name, and yeah, that's
Cool.
basically how that came about.
Cool. Cool. So with the band, what was like when you were started Cassidy Paris the band, what was the
Yeah.
original thought process? What like were you wanting to do more solo stuff, or were you originally like full on full band, all that stuff?
I mean, I've always like obviously it's my name, but I've
Mm,
always thought of it as like kind of a band dynamic, and
mm,
I feel like everyone plays like a really integral part in the band. So and that was something that I kind of explained, and the boys and I did see very eye to eye on, and
mm,
previously with other people I haven't so much so it's exciting to have a lot of people have the boys on involved and
mm,
my dad involved, and I guess they're all very committed to, you know, to making this what it can be. And I mean, it is my name, but I see it as a band, and I think you guys see it as the same thing as well.
Nice. Awesome. So this will be a question for each of you individually. What was it like growing up, Cassidy, for you in Melbourne, and Tom, for you in Wales there?
You want to start?
Yeah, can do. Yeah, it was good. The scenery's awesome. It's a great part of the world.
Yeah.
In terms of music in our sort of area, there's not really a terrible what's the word? There's not a massive lot going on. So sort of used to traveling out to say like Manchester, Chester, Liverpool, and stuff like that. So yeah, we were always brought up on like kind of 80s rock stuff and like Mr. Big and AC/DC and all that kind of thing. So yeah, it was
I guess
good.
your dad played in bands as well.
Yeah, my dad, played in quite a few different bands, and some were like originals, and then he did covers for a bit and stuff. So he was a drummer, and I initially started on drums, and then realized that wasn't a good idea to continue. So yeah, my brother Alex, who plays the drums in the band, he actually started on guitar. So then we ended up switching. So that's interesting. But yeah.
Nice. Nice.
So yeah, it's a cool place for sure, but the weather's better in Melbourne.
Yeah.
I'd imagine.
You haven't been here long enough yet, but
Well,
the weather's been shocking.
Quite a lot of rain, but it's still better.
Right. Well, I mean, you're used to the gloom or like the gloomy weather in the UK, right? Isn't it pretty?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
I
haven't been to either UK or Australia yet. I'm working on it, but
oh, you must. You must.
It's just one of those things where I know when I want to go to the Australia, everybody keeps telling me November. If you're going to Melbourne, Sydney, wherever, November's like the time to go. It's like, okay, cool, make that work. Nobody can give me a straight answer when the good time to go to the UK is. So
yeah, I don't know. It depends whether you want cold, really cold, or really cold. So yeah. If you just want cold, I'd go in about May, June, July, August.
That's not cold though. You have warm weather there, don't you?
Yeah, I mean our summer is sort of like 20 is a pretty warm day, but it'll probably between like 15 and 18 or something.
Too cold for
me. And then when it gets sort of over 20, you got like a 24-degree day or something comes up on the news. All the screens are red. Drink water. Don't have hot baths, blah, blah, blah. Heat wave on the way. Like 24 or something.
Oof. I think you're going to be in for a rude awakening come summers in Australia.
As you can see, I've already had a bit of an argument with the sun a couple of days ago.
Yeah. That'll get you. You got to watch out for that stuff. So
yeah, I mean, sun always wins, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then Cassidy, for you, what was it like growing up in Melbourne?
It was great. Like I had the best childhood, and that's not sugarcoating anything. Like I had a really, really good childhood, and I have a really good relationship with my parents as well. And I know like a lot of people ask me like, how is it touring with your dad and stuff? And it's great. Like I really enjoy it, and I'm very glad that I have that bond with my dad. But yeah, like I grew up, and my dad's always been in bands my entire life, and he in no way like did he force me into doing music or being in the scene or anything. My brother's chosen a completely different route, and he's just as proud of him as well. So I kind of expressed an interest at quite a young age, and I was listening to all like the classic rock stuff, and my mum's kind of been into that classic rock scene as well. So my parents are both, she's not musical in any way, she's kind of like the black sheep of the family in that way. But yeah, that's basically how I was sort of raised in Melbourne.
Nice. It's been a while since I've interviewed a rock band based out of Australia, and I tend to forget to ask this question. Is AC/DC a big like influence for a lot of rock bands in Australia?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Okay. I mean, I wouldn't say AC/DC is like a key influence for us personally, but I mean, it is for you and your brother love AC/DC. Yeah, and they're not from Australia, but you guys are huge.
Yeah, that was like the inspiration to start playing guitar, because they're just so cool, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think definitely, like, for me, AC/DC is a huge inspiration for me, but like on what I'm doing, not so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are a lot of bands that are very influenced by.
Yeah, and still like the stage show and stuff and the stage presence, that's like pretty inspirational as well.
Yeah.
If
Absolutely.
not so much the music style. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know they were from Australia. Like when I used to listen to AC/DC when I was younger, my buddy's dad introduced me, and it was like, okay, cool, you know, and I just loved the music. I wasn't like out there listening to the interviews and all that stuff, but I also grew up in the 90s, so the internet wasn't like readily available at that point, like world or on a big scale. And then like 10 years ago, I just randomly came across an interview that Angus did, and he was talking about growing up in Australia, and I'm like, oh wow, okay, and it just kind of opened up a whole new thing for me. So
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, if you ask my dad that question, like, I mean, I was raised on AC/DC, obviously. Like, one of my favorite albums of all time is Back in Black. But my dad is like a mega AC/DC fan, so he's a huge Angus fan as well. So I
Nice.
think for him, and like my dad's been in a lot of bands as well previously, like I said, it's definitely been an influence on him more so. But we're kind of choosing like our own route with Passive Paris stuff.
Yeah, it's having. I've had a chance to listen to your music. I've listened before I contacted you. I was listening to the album, and then I've like really the last couple of days, like really just constant rotation, like 20-minute drive to work, constant you know, because I kind of like to dive in and see if I catch anything that's just like, oh, hey, you know, and I just love your sound, and I think just the entire country in or Australia, just like your guys' rock scene just across the country is absolutely amazing. And I'm glad y'all are doing what you can to keep rock music alive, because it's getting a little commercial over here. So
yeah, thank you. No, we appreciate it. And I think like for us, like it's kind of we're super young as well. Like Tom's 22 and I just turned 21. So for us it's like kind of keeping that music alive, but also putting like a modern spin on it for us. Like we love a lot of modern bands as well. We're huge fans of like the Struts and things like that. Yeah, so we listen to a lot of different things, not just like we are old souls in some ways, and like we also some modern stuff. So a bunch of things that like influenced that album, but I'm really glad you're digging it. So thank you.
Yeah. So the new album that we're referring to is New Sensation, which dropped December 8th, I want to say, if my math is correct. What how long was this album kind of in the works?
Yeah, well, I mean, like it's been in the works literally since I started. So like for me, I started writing with Paul Lane. I don't know if you're aware of him. He was in Danger Danger, and he does The Defiance now, and he does some solo stuff as well. And I met him when he came down to do a solo tour in Australia. And we started writing together, and I expressed an interest to him, and it kind of just started from there. And we've been writing songs and kind of like collecting kind of like a bank of songs, if you would say. And then we put that forward to the record label, and they chose what they liked. And yeah, I think the collection of songs I was very particular as well with what I wanted to give to the record label. I think it's a very versatile album. Like there's a bunch of different sounds and things, and a lot of different things on the album, and that's what I like about it, that it is so versatile. It's very different from what's out there at the moment, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've been doing it for a while. I think the start of all this was kind of with my my single Danger. I don't know if you heard that track on the album, and that's the first one I put forward to the record label, and how I kind of got signed. And we've had a great relationship with them, and we met the UK team in when we toured the UK recently, so that was super exciting for us. So it's all a massive journey, but yeah.
Nice. That's sick.
Basically, in summary, we've been writing songs for a long time. Sometimes I go on a little bit of rant.
No, you're fine. That's perfect. So you mentioned that Danger was that first song that you kind of put out there. It was the first single, and it was also the song that you sent out to like the labels and whatnot. What was it about that song that just you felt like encapsulated the entire project or the entire feel of what you're trying to do?
Yeah, well, I think firstly, so Danger was like a song that it was very different to what I'd kind of like previously done,
Mhm.
and it translates really, really well live. It's really fun to play live,
Yeah, it's got a
and
good energy for sure. That
yeah,
song, yeah.
yeah, definitely. And I think that I like that it has an 80s rock feel with a modern twist. And I think that the label really liked that as well. When I spoke to Frontiers about it, they were like, when we don't have anyone like you, and we're really excited to, to kind of build your career with you, which was really, really, like motivating for me as a young artist as well. And yeah, from that, like a lot of people really love that song as well. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was the first single that we released from the album, and I think it's got almost 100,000 views. So
Mm.
that's exciting for like a young artist too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
It's got to be really reaffirming. And well, you said it's exciting, and it's just got to be really reaffirming the fact that this is your first album. This is like your first big push, and you've already been on a tour of the UK. And like all these things are starting to happen. And now that you've got like a more, I don't want to say more solidified lineup of the band, but you've got like a solid
Yeah, no,
lineup of
that's
the
true. Very true. Yeah,
um
yeah, absolutely. Like I think for me as well, it was all about finding the right members and the
mhm.
people that were committed to the band, and I feel like I finally found that. So that's exciting on both our parts, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So with the band out, or not with the band, with the album out now, and how what's kind of running through your mind as you are still promoting this album, obviously, and you're starting to look at the next project? What's kind of running through your mind right now? Where are you, what are you thinking about?
Yeah, do you want to answer that one, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of ideas floating around. We're definitely working on new stuff at the moment. Some sort of little covers and stuff to put out at some point. But yeah, the new songs are coming along great. We're coming up with loads of different ideas each day, working with different people. So
Nice.
everyone will hear a bit more about that soon, I think.
Yeah, and I think like a lot of conversation around touring as well for us, which is also exciting. For us, like the next couple of years are really important to get out to that audience, and being so young, I think we're very grateful to already have toured the UK twice, and have
Mhm.
that under our belt, and we've done a bunch of shows in Melbourne. We've got our album launch show in 2 weeks, under 2 weeks time,
Under 2 weeks.
Nice.
which is super exciting. And then we play a festival in Australia called Glam Fest in
Mhm.
late mid-Feb.
Yeah, I think 2 weeks after.
Yeah, so we're doing a lot, and the conversations around touring just blows my mind though. Like
Yeah,
a lot of
exciting.
questions about Europe and Japan and the
Yeah.
US.
Yeah.
We're dying to come back to the US, and the boys have never been before. So
Yeah.
I keep
Nice.
saying that I'm a huge USA fan. I'm a massive fan of the US, and they're just really excited to get out and play to that audience as well.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to get you out to help get you out to the US. I've got can help you book shows or whatever it is, and
Fantastic.
that's always exciting. It's so funny that you bring up like Asia and Japan and stuff like that. I've had a pre-pandemic, I heard of a lot of like DIY punk bands that were going out to Japan because they had like they just had a guy that was able to book punk shows, and I guess in Japan they like punk music, or they
Yeah,
I,
sure.
maybe it's rock music in general, but anyways, and they would go out there and they just rake in the money, like they just have a killer lineup, and it's like, dude, that's so random. I wouldn't even think
Yeah.
Japan would be about
Yeah,
that.
the
So
Japanese, they're so cool, and
mhm.
they really are a different breed in my opinion. Like I just feel like they're the nicest people ever. Like when we went to I've been to Japan twice before, once for some shows with
Mhm.
with my dad and his band, and it was just incredible. Like people are like going through your like social media trying to figure out what you like to like buy you a present and stuff. Like
Yeah,
I know a bunch of fans like rocked up to the show with like massive Snoopy toys and pillows for me
nice.
because my dad named Snoopy and I'm a massive Snoopy fan. And it's just the commitment from the fans there is crazy. So we can't wait to get back to Japan as well.
Heck yeah. That's really cool. And it all kind of makes sense because, it's like a lot of the other stuff that I pay attention to that has like a Japanese audience that's pretty consistent across the board, where they're just that hardcore dedicated to what they like,
Yeah.
which is cool.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you brought up Glam Fest. I keep seeing, for anybody that doesn't know what Glam Fest is, what's Glam Fest?
Well, Glamfest is a festival that it's quite a new festival in Australia, and Silverback. It's run by Silverback Touring, so which is an agency or organized agency. I would say agency or touring company.
Okay.
Is the word. That has been around for a bit, and we've done some stuff. We played with a band called Heat Sweden and supported them when they were in Australia. And I also did a show with John Corabi of Motley Crue. He did some shows here in Australia, and I did the Melbourne show with him. So I've done a bit of Silverback touring, and we played on the Bill Glamfest last year, and we were really excited to be invited back. And the boys are super excited because
it was a great lineup as well.
Yeah, it's super lineup, and I know that Heat's coming back, and we're good friends with the boys from Heat, and there's like Slaughter, Lynch Mob, Taketo. Yeah, we just we did some festivals in the great thing about the music industry, I guess, for us is as well, is that you meet so many different people when you go overseas. Like when we did the UK shows, we met like Danny Vaughan from Taketo, and that was really nice. And he has a connection to Paul Lane, and he came up, and Paul must have just called him or texted him and said, like, go talk to her because we're friends. And we had a conversation about that, and he was telling me about music and everything. So, it's great to meet other people in the scene and to see, experienced artists supporting people that are younger in the scene. That's really nice as well.
Yeah, it's cool to see like how like different people connect, even though like opposite ends of the world. We're playing with this band in the UK, and now we're playing with them in Australia. Like it's like a universal worldwide sort of language, isn't it? Music, really.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Everyone working together.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. So, Tom, for you, you've been in Australia now, you said, what, 6 weeks?
Yeah, just coming up to, I think, yeah.
How are you adjusting to everything Australian, or is it a big adjustment for you?
Yeah, good. The first week was like sort of getting used to the fact that we're actually here and we're actually doing it. We're on the other side of the world, like for real, not just thinking about it. So that actually surprisingly took quite a bit to get in my head. But it's a lot of things in a way are similar to the UK, I'd say. But then some of those things that don't quite work, it's just like it's better here, like the weather and stuff. But there's a couple of funny things I've just sort of seen day to day, and it just makes me laugh. Like the postman here, I don't know how this works in the US, but he come on a little pedal bike with his little hat on, and I thought it was a joke. Like I didn't think I don't know, because we've got like the Royal Mail vans, and it's just a guy comes driving a van and then leaves again. And this guy on a little bike, he dings us bell and comes and gives us a post. It's like, what?
Yeah,
it's quite funny. The little things like that, it's all like the
Cassidy's accent. He likes to make fun of constantly, and I like to make fun of his accent.
Yeah,
and little things that like we just don't know that is different until funny words, or he's like, "What does that mean?"
Right.
Little things like that. It's really fun and quite funny on tour as well, because especially when we go over there and we say things, and then you kind of have to be like my translator sometimes as well. They're like, "Oh, that's what that
especially
means."
in Scotland.
Yeah. Oh, I can't with the Scottish people are the most lovely people ever.
Yeah.
But every time I go to Scotland, I'm like, I cannot understand a word you're saying. I'm so sorry. I cannot understand. But, they're so lovely as well, and they're so supportive, and you have to translate.
I had a girl on the podcast several months ago. She had a very she's from the UK, and she had a very Cockney accent, and I couldn't understand a damn thing she said. Like it took me 10 minutes just to kind of get used to the accent and kind of okay, now I understand what she's saying, but for the life of me, I could not understand a thing she was saying.
Yeah,
That's
some
too
accents
funny.
in the UK are mad. Yeah, the South Wales accent and
I find your accent hilarious, to be
Scotland.
honest.
I don't even
tell
know
him
what my accent is. It's
it's
like
Right.
a mixture of different things. Like
Right.
if you heard like someone with like a North Walian accent, it's not like this. I don't know why I sound like
To
this, but I do.
to me, it seems like you just have like the general UK accent. Like when somebody says like an English accent, this is what I
Yeah,
imagine. So
it's just it's made up of so many different things because you've got
yeah,
like Newcastle, it's totally different. Liverpool's wacky, Birmingham, and
yeah.
yeah, Cockney like
Oh,
says.
Liverpool, or how they accentuate the double O's. That's
Oh yeah, Liverpool.
yeah. There you
yeah.
go. Oh
Yeah.
man. Oh, but
Uh,
yeah, I have the same issue when I go home because I've lit when I go back up to Chicago. I've lived away for so long that a lot of my Chicago like slang and accent gets mixed in with like this weird Texas thing I've picked up over the last 4.5 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's always interesting. But um, so with obviously you got the album out now, you got a whole bunch of shows coming up, or in the next couple of weeks, honestly, right? Next month or
yeah.
so.
Yeah,
Yep.
The next month for us,
Busy
February,
times.
is very busy,
Yeah.
and we're very excited about it. Busy is
Nice.
good for us. We like
Yeah.
busy.
Especially after the pandemic, because you guys I just remember hearing about like all these venues closing after the or in the middle of the pandemic and then even after
Yeah.
the pandemic. So the fact that it seems like the scene is really starting to pick up again in Australia, which has got to be exciting.
Yeah, well, I think for Australians as well, like we were I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this though, like Australia was probably in the pandemic for the longest out of like everyone
Yeah.
um worldwide.
Yeah.
Especially in Melbourne.
Yeah.
We were like, stuck in our homes for like something crazy, like 8 months or something of the
Yeah.
Yeah.
year. It was insane. Because I graduated high school that year.
Oh,
2020 was the year that I graduated, and everything was like so funny. We had to do exams like at home, and like we had open book exams, which
Yeah.
were great
Yeah.
for people like me, that I don't really enjoy. I didn't really enjoy high school that much, to be
Yeah.
honest. I got hassled a lot for what I did in music, and I got bullied a little bit. So I that was kind of probably the best year of my life in
Yeah.
a lot of ways for high school. But yeah, it was difficult at times as well, because obviously you don't have that one-on-one learning with teachers and things like that. But
Hmm.
in regards to venues and stuff, I think that yeah, a lot of venues are doing quite well in Melbourne, and Sydney is kind of where the scene is, the rock
Yeah.
scene for Australia. But like places like the UK and US, they kill Australia in regards to rock
Yeah.
music. Rock music isn't that huge here, so I think that's why a lot of these artists go overseas to kind of build their brand and stuff. But we're lucky, like in Melbourne, we've got a lot of support as well.
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, like obviously I was in the pandemic in the UK. That was pretty mad.
Yeah.
All the places shutting down and like not being able to go within 5 miles of your home, and it felt wrong, like standing at the edge of your driveway almost. It felt
Hmm.
like someone was gonna come and arrest you or whatever. It's so mad looking back on it now, but yeah, very strange. Hopefully
Yeah.
that doesn't happen.
Strange time.
I just remember the first week we went under lockdown. Like I was so I was working full time at that point, and we worked remote for almost 2 years straight. Like we weren't on lockdown, but it was just kind of the company was like nobody in the office until
And it
we
took a
said,
lot to get people back into offices as well when it
yeah,
was actually time, because all the companies have got used to not paying for
right,
electricity and office, just general costs and rent and stuff.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
know a lot of companies kept it at home, which
yeah. I it was so funny because like when they were starting to move people back in, they were like, all right, guys, y'all really don't have to come back into the office, so it's up to y'all. Do you want to station yourselves out of the office, or do you want to stay at home? And it had to be like a group decision, because it wasn't going to be like, oh, he can work from home, but y'all got to come in, or, like one of those things. And I was
Yeah.
like, so for working from home. I was like, dude, I love working from home because I have meetings at 9:30. So that means I can wake up at 9:28, roll over to my computer
Yeah.
and not worry about it.
Exactly.
And I got outvoted by like a landslide. It wasn't even close. So
Yeah. It's crazy how, like, you could do that kind of stuff in the pandemic. And like I said, I thrived off that. I was that
yeah,
person that was getting up at 9:28 when I had to be
yeah,
at school at 9:30.
yeah.
I didn't really have, I mean, for me, like, routine is a big thing as well.
Mm,
Like, I have it like kind of a set routine and stuff. So I think that I probably am better off actually living a normal life and
fair.
going to do music outside and stuff like that, because
Yeah.
it was hard for musicians too, because like I had just begun like playing live shows and doing like some acoustic stuff. I hadn't done much electric stuff by that point.
Mm,
I was still quite young, so, but I was like recording and stuff, and we did like a bunch of covers online and stuff just to keep things moving, because no one really knew how to kind of change up your ways. And for music, it's all about getting out there in the
mm,
actual world. So like, oh well, lucky we have social media. Social media was a godsend in that time,
yeah.
because we did, and that's kind of how we met too,
Yeah.
through
Yeah,
the
totally.
pandemic.
Yeah.
I did a new waves of classic rock, like what's it called?
Like a live online
Live stream.
festival type thing. Live stream.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you guys saw me off that, and that's how we kind of connected.
Yeah. Yeah. I think our band was on the same one, like before or after or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was mad times, all just watching a gig off a phone screen.
Yeah, it was
strange.
strange, really strange.
And that was such, like you said, it was such an interesting time, because all those, like, looking back at all that stuff, like the quality was absolutely terrible. Like it,
Exactly. I know.
but
It was, I know, so true.
and then but no, it was an odd time for sure. And that's really cool that y'all kind of met off that. I kind of wish I would have watched more of those things, because I was so busy focusing on my podcast. It's like, oh, I've got nothing else to do. Let's focus on the podcast. Like, let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's dedicate the time. And I think I needed to take a couple minutes to be like, okay, let me go see what everybody else is doing. So
Yeah. No, it's great. And like, I think if you kind of, if anyone survived the pandemic and they found something to kind of enjoy in that time, then that's a great thing. So yeah, it's fantastic.
Awesome. So outside of music, what do you like to do? What are some of your hobbies? What's your favorite thing to do in the summer in Australia? Or what can't you wait to show Tom?
We've done a couple of little day trips and stuff so far, but I love this question, because like, outside of music, my life doesn't really exist.
The same thing.
But no, I love going to the gym. That's one of my favorite things to do. And like hanging out with friends and stuff, like the band, me, Tom and Alex, and Wicked Smile, we're all very close, so we like to do things together when we can. And yeah, I mein, what am I excited to show you guys? I was thinking last night that I should take them to this really good pizza joint that I really like.
Nice.
But we could take them to our favorite pizza joint.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah,
Nice.
and that was
Good.
really, really good. And what else have we done? We haven't done a beach day yet, which feels very un-Australian.
Beach for sure.
Nice.
I can get more red than I already am.
Did do a beach trip, just I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, nah, it's kind of funny, because music is like it's like my everything, and I feel like it's the same for you, Tom. Like,
Yeah, totally.
even when I'm at the gym, I'm listening to like new demos, or I'm listening,
Yeah.
or I'm
Yeah.
writing down and humming a idea into my
Yeah.
phone, or like writing down lyrics, or just listening to other artists
Yeah.
and stuff, and getting ideas, and or even social media. Social media is like a job in some ways.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Whenever you get a spare moment to put something up on social media, you basically take it.
100%.
But a bunch of little things. I don't know, what else do you enjoy?
Yeah. I don't know. I like outdoorsy stuff. So like, yeah, just
Me not so
walks
much.
or fishing, or when I've got the patience, that is. And then there's like we went swimming in this like natural sort of waterfall place thing. But then even then I was in the middle of a lake or whatever it was. I come up with a song idea in my head, so I swim back to the side and hum it into my phone while getting bitten to death by ants.
Very fair.
So you gotta do what you gotta do. But yeah, music stuff's always there. If we're not writing or recording or filming videos, social media, yeah, there's always something going on.
Yeah, there is. I mean, like for me, it's all like, if it's not music, it's like hanging out with people that I enjoy being with, or like my dogs are like my world.
Nice.
I have 2 poodles, and they are like my children. They get everything they want. They're so spoiled. So that's basically my life. It's like gym and music, and
that's the thing.
friends.
Like, music is so versatile that it's like it can be spread across a load of different activities. So it's great.
Yeah.
Nice.
What about yourself? What do you like outside the podcast and music?
So recently I've been so when I was younger, I thought I was going to be a chef. Like, I really enjoyed cooking and all that stuff. And then I kind of saw my mom's cousin was a chef, and he doesn't have the best life. Like, just kind of he's 65, he's got terrible knees, and like he's just like, his body's destroyed. And I was just like, yeah, I don't really want to be like that. So it kind of turned me off. But recently, over the last like 3 months or so, I've like really started cooking again, and I kind of like, I'm finding the balance of, okay, this isn't a job I'm pursuing, it's just something that I enjoy doing. And so I'm kind of getting back into that. That's been kind of fun recently. And then I collect baseball cards. That's just kind of like the weird like dorky hobby that I do. And so that takes up a lot of my free money. Let me just put it that way. So
in Australia, they have so I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Aussie Rules Football. So it's AFL. And it's the most whack game ever. Like, you don't understand it.
I don't know what's
going on.
I watch like the highlights on TikTok. It is my favorite thing. Yes.
Yeah, well, my brother, he plays, like, that's what he's like training to do, to play AFL. And he absolutely loves it. My dad loves it. That's their life. So if you ever like interview my dad or anything, like he'll say that it's like that, and then AFL is like his secondary thing. He loves that. And it's so funny because we come out with like AFL football cards. They used to be like little chips, like, like if you go to like play the pokies. I don't gamble, so I don't really even know. I was about to say poker, but pokies. Like little chips they used to come out with when I was younger, and then they just recently like got into AFL cards, and people collect them and trade them at school, and it causes lots of issues.
Yeah, it does. It really does. It's kind of a problem at this point, but it is what it is.
That's
but
okay.
yeah. And then I've been trying to do a lot more traveling. Like, that's the other thing, is like, I've always enjoyed just getting in the car and driving. And that's what's always like really interested me about Australia, is how like it's not by my book, it's not spread out like too terribly bad, but for a lot of people that aren't used to having to drive 3 or 4 hours to get to the next big city, it's like Australia just kind of, from what I've seen, just kind of feels like it would be home to me,
Yeah, Australia, there's some beautiful places in Australia. Everything is very spread out in Australia. So obviously, like, all the main cities are kind of like a coast.
Yep.
But yeah, I think like it takes you to get to Sydney by car, maybe
9.5, is it?
yeah,
8.5?
9 hours or something. And
Yeah.
to get to Queensland, it's about 18, 20
Yeah.
hours. I've done the Queensland one before and it wasn't fun. It's
Yeah.
not it's not
Fair.
something I enjoy. But like you guys drove up to, where was it, Anglesey? Or Torquay. And that was really nice.
Yeah, that was
It's
nice
not
because
far,
Great
but-
Ocean Road kind of
Yeah.
starts there. But we drove to, where was it, Wonthaggi or something, where you look on the map and you think, oh yeah, it's not too bad, and then 3.5 hours later you're still going. But yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll have to remember whenever we're in Texas, we're coming over to yours for some good food.
Yes. I'll take you to all the good barbecue spots, and then I'll make you.
That sounds great.
I'll make you my pizza. I'm working on a Chicago style pizza. That'll be.
Me and my Chicago pizza. I'm obsessed with Chicago.
Nice.
Deep dish pizza. So in Chicago, they have like deep dish
I
pie pizza.
saying,
Nice.
It's so good. I love this place, and it's probably where you get your deep dish pizza. Giordano's.
Giordano's is the oh boy, here we go. All right, so Giordano's is like the commercialized establishment. Like it's a good place to get deep dish pizza, but there's two places that people fight over, or well, I guess technically three, but for me it's two places. You're either going to go to Gino's East, and that's where I like my deep dish pizza, or you're going to Lou Malnati's, and that's where a lot of people like to get their deep dish pizza. So
those like not changed, those are like individual ones, or they've changed.
Yes.
Nice.
But for me, growing up, I didn't eat a lot of deep dish pizza. That was like a specialty thing that like when you were in the city, like in the proper city, it was like, oh hey, we're here, let's go get deep dish. Okay, cool. For us, it was more like Chicago thin crust, which is a completely different style of pizza. So
okay, gotcha.
But it's a whole thing. I'm kind of a pizza snob, but you know, it is what it is. So
I'm a bit of a pizza snob too. Like I love in Australia they fill the pizza with like so many toppings. Like it's so full. And it's like in our household at least, like we've changed pizza places so many times because it's like, oh, there's no toppings on this. We're not eating that. So when we go to the UK and it's just like pepperoni, it's just a sad little thing, isn't it?
Oh, well, it depends where you go. We've got this little pub in our little town. They do awesome pizza.
That's true. That's wood fire.
But there's not loads on them, but it's like thin and it's so good. They got this built a little like clay oven in the back, and they do them all by hand. It's awesome.
It's like pizza is one of those things where you could make it in one place and then take it to a different place and follow the exact same recipe, and it's completely different because there's such a science behind it. So so obviously we've been plugging it all day. You got the new album out. Where can people listen to it if they want to give it a listen or catch a show or any of that fun stuff? So
well, on our social media, Cassidy Paris Official on everything, whether that be even we've got a TikTok now, which I'm trying to to work with. I find it so confusing, and I just can't with all the different trends and everything like that. So
stuff
confusing.
Changes so quickly.
We sound like we're 50 and we're literally early 20s.
You're literally in the prime age of social media.
Exactly. I know.
Like 2 years late for TikTok or something.
I know, but we're definitely on TikTok and all that kind of stuff, and Instagram and Facebook, and we're always updating when we've got shows and stuff, and I hope we get over to the US soon. That would be fantastic. But New Sensation, you can purchase New Sensation via our record label Frontiers Music SRL if you want to get a hard copy, or you can listen to our album on iTunes or Spotify, all the streaming platforms.
Awesome. Are you, as far as the hard copies, are you doing just like CDs or are you doing vinyl as well?
CDs, vinyl's up in the air. That's a question at the moment, and I'd love to have vinyl. That'd be fantastic.
Vinyl
but
is
there
just
is more coming with the album. I can't really say much more, but there is like a second kind of phase.
thing.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Fair enough. Fair enough. And then how often are you playing shows? Right. Obviously, you've got the couple of big gigs coming up, but are you trying to play like consistently a couple of times a week, or are you more a couple times a month?
We're probably like maybe like once or twice a month if we
Yeah.
can. Like it's kind of just like for us, we like to do international stuff when we can, and hometown shows are like a bit of a rarity, I would say, for us as well. Like the last hometown show I played was maybe like August of last year before I left, and then obviously we're playing in February, 2nd of Feb in Melbourne. So yeah, we like to make it special when we play our hometown shows, and we're really excited for this one though, because it's like the big one. It's the debut album launch.
Yeah, that's sick. That's so awesome. I'm so glad we got a chance to sit down and chat. It's been so fun. I was a little nervous how it was going to go once I realized that, Tom, you just moved to Australia 6 weeks ago, and it's just like, I don't know how we're going to work this one, but we'll figure it out. And here we sit.
No,
So
thank
It's
you.
been great. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. It's been great, and we'll come back anytime.
yeah, absolutely. We'd love to have you back. We'll have to keep an eye out for that upcoming US tour. Gonna put it in the ether for you.
Yeah. Keep your eyes peeled. It
Yes.
is going to happen. I promise.
Oh yes, and then I'll keep you all in the loop when that Australia trip happens. It was one of those things.
Yes, we'll take you out in Australia, definitely.
Just don't take me to Alice Springs, please, because so a little
I've never been
sidetrack.
to Alice Springs.
Okay, so little funny side story before we wrap this one up. When I was in school, I was going to do a study abroad program at a TV broadcasting station, and it was in Alice Springs, and I was like, okay, that'll be cool. You know, it's an international study abroad thing. It give me a cool experience. I'll go work in TV. It'll be fun. And then we couldn't get the visa situation figured out, and I was just like, you know what, that's fine. I'm not worried about it. And the one of the very first Australian acts I had on the podcast during the pandemic, I was telling him like what all the like specifics of what happened, and he was like, yeah, if you had you gone to Alice Springs, that would have been like the real outback. Like all the negative things you've heard about Australia
Exactly.
would have been true there. And I'm like,
very true. Very
yes.
true.
So
Alice Springs is like, if you like that, you would love Alice Springs.
Yeah.
For us not so outdoorsy people,
Yeah.
me, I probably wouldn't thrive there at all.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where it's like, if I got to worry if that spider bites me and I'm gonna die, but like that concerns me a little bit.
About it.
Oh, I had to worry about that driving through the blooming city the other day. It was awful.
True.
Yeah.
Very
It's
Yeah, a huntsman dropped down past my leg while I was driving.
Oh, wow.
Thing of like this sort of size, and looked
Yeah.
down, 10 Ks to go, like, don't
And
kill me.
he continued driving. He
Kept
continued
driving.
driving with it on his leg. I was like, Tom, I would have crashed the car first.
Oh, we just bought the car as well, so I couldn't crash it.
Right. At least you knew what it was, so it was just kind of like, okay.
Oh, I didn't at the time, to be honest. It was pretty
fair.
killer to me.
Fair. So I guess the final question I need to ask to you, Tom, is, have you gotten used to the toilets flushing in reverse?
No. And
Okay.
Cassidy doesn't believe me about that. The water going down the plug in reverse. You don't believe me.
No.
Yeah, but it's true, see?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't got used to it. No, it is
I
true.
was literally leaving work today, and I was talking to one of my coworkers as we were walking out to our cars, and he was like, you got to ask him, does the water really flow or does the toilets really flush in reverse? And I'm like, I already know the answer is yes, because I've had hundreds of Australian artists on, but since this kind of opened up, I was like, okay, I'm going to ask the question in my own little way. So.
Honestly, we came here last year for a few weeks, and we were having this debate with my family. And they're like, no, I'm sure it goes this way the same way. So we ended up video calling my gran, who's about 92, with a smartphone, and we said, right, turn the tap on, and then watched it go down. Yeah, myth busted. I'll have to do that again.
That's so funny. I love it so much. That's amazing.
Calling your dad tonight to confirm.
Yeah, 100%.
But once again, really appreciate y'all for joining us. It's been an absolute blast.
Thanks so much.
Thank
Thank
you. No,
Yeah, absolutely. And then thank you everybody for tuning in. If you want to support Cassidy Paris, make sure you follow all her socials, the band socials. They'll be in the description below, all that fun stuff, as well as Live and Amplified, our Facebook, Instagram, and Spotify, all that fun stuff. So we really appreciate all the support. We're here to support local musicians and independent musicians in general. And once again, want to thank you all so very much, and we'll catch you later.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much.
Appreciate it.
See you
See you
soon.
later.
See ya.
Bye.
Awesome. Awesome.